yourself, just to pause between your reaction and your response, that's huge, especially once you develop that positive mindset, because that's going to be fueling that response.
Exactly. And I want to take a step back. You were talking about, when people are gossiping or putting people down. And, science has shown that the reason people do this is because they're insecure about themselves. They don't feel good about themselves. So they're trying to elevate themselves by putting somebody else down. But the result of this is that you actually feel worse about yourself when you do this. Because again, you're comparing yourself to them. You're trying to convince yourself, oh, well, I'm better than these people. And if you raise them up and raise yourself up at the same time, you feel better about yourself. And it's been shown in study after study that you feel better about yourself when you boost people up and when you focus on the positive things they do or the positive things that they've accomplished.
And that's rule of life, whether it's personal or whether it's in the workplace. If you're in the workplace and you're looking for the good in your employees or the people that you're working with, it lifts the atmosphere of the whole workforce there, and it makes your day there a whole lot better. It gives you a whole lot more potential for profitability and all of that. So it's really, really important. We talk about find somebody doing something good. Use that mantra for a day. Find something doing something good day as opposed to trying to criticize somebody. Change all the buts about people as far as what's wrong with them into ands. And this person is this good at this and this good at that and so on. And the bottom line is that is contagious. And it's gonna, if it starts with you, it's gonna spread to the different people that you're talking to. Is that going to be covered in the negative news? No. However, there's a whole lot more of that out there than there is negativity. It's just that that's not emphasized. So what we have to do is emphasize it ourselves, and we can. And again, your response does not have to be your initial reaction. It's the best way to start it. Be positive.
Right. And if you're in an environment where there is all of this negativity, be the positive influence. Before I started my business, when I was still in corporate, I was in an interesting position in the company I was at where I was literally the definition of middle management. And because I was middle management, there were a lot of people that answered to me, but I wasn't high enough in the chain for those people that answered to me to feel that they had to hide things from me, or I wasn't part of the hierarchy. So people would still talk to me about things. And upper management in this corporation was very negative. They were always coming down on people, focusing on what was done wrong. So I made it my business for the people that were under me that I pointed out what they were doing right. I let them know what they were good at. When they did something good, I congratulated them. I let them know that. When things got really bad, I would organize something after work and take people out for drinks. And that positivity certainly made things better for them, but it made things better for me because I didn't have anybody above me doing this. So doing it myself for others made me feel good about what I was doing there.
Yeah, and you've made a life and a living because of that. That's because that's who you are, and everybody knows that. And it's such a wonderful thing to have, is feeling gratitude in everything that you're doing and knowing that you're helping people. Yes, it's good when people you tell you thank you and so on and so forth. And yes, it's okay to, appreciate that. But that's not why we're in it. We're in it because that's who we are. And everybody has that in them to go out and help other people and make them better just because you are you. And the bottom line is you become better for doing that automatically, and so do they. It's contagious.
And that's really the key, is that we do tend to get caught up in the attitudes of those around us. And if there's a lot of negativity, you feel that and you start becoming negative about yourself. So if you can focus on, well, look what I've done, look what I have, how much, years and years ago, I was at a company that they were laying people off. The attitude at the company was just depressing. And I would come home, and my oldest, who now he's graduated college, but at the time he was 2, would run up to the door. And as I was coming in, and just go, "Hi, Daddy, how was your day?" And at that moment, nothing that went on at work mattered. I could have had the worst possible day, didn't matter, because he came running up to me and just made me feel good. And you can do that for people on a regular basis. And the more you do it, the less the negativity affects you. And make no mistake, when I say negativity affects you, the effect of negativity and not being grateful and being jealous and envious is more than just being in a bad mood. It leads to depression. It leads to physical ailments. It leads to stress on your heart. There are physical and mental benefits to being grateful for what you have that will actually keep you healthy, keep you doing more.
Yeah, it's the law of attraction, like we talked about. I mean, you are what you think about and what you become. And what you just talked about your son greeting you when you got home from work is a beautiful, beautiful example. If you folks are out there wondering, how do I get a shifter together, like I talked about earlier, something to automatically make me happy, even in the worst circumstances. If you're a parent, picture your kid doing that, or picture some just joyful moment. Children are obviously some of the greatest sources of happiness that parents obviously will ever have. And the neatest thing about children is that life hasn't happened to them yet, so they're a whole lot more positive. And there's a lot that we can learn from our children just to be enthusiastic and happy about everything, regardless of what might be wrong around them.
Exactly. And, it's funny. A friend of mine who has kids who are older than mine was cleaning out their kids' stuff. Her son said, "Yeah, I don't need that stuff anymore. Just throw it out." Well, before she threw it out, she went on Facebook and she said, "I've got this huge box of anime manga magazines. Does anybody want them?" Well, my both of my boys enjoy manga, so I asked them if they would like it. They said yes, so I told her I would take it off her hands. I brought this box of old magazines home, and my kids were through the roof. They were so happy. And I mentioned this to my friend, and she goes, "Isn't it great that at some point in your life you can be that happy over a box of magazines?" As we get older, it becomes, harder to overcome what life is throwing at us. But you have to remember that, yes, there are those things that can make you that happy, and you need to seek them out.
Oh, absolutely. Her ability to go out there and just try and share something instead of throw something out. I mean, it's just amazing. Sharing is such a huge part of gratitude, and gratitude is meant to be shared. So that's wonderful.
Yeah, when you can make somebody else happy, it makes you feel better. And again, we've said this a couple of times today. Gratitude is contagious, and a positive mindset is contagious. So when you take a good look at your own life, and you focus on what you have rather than what you don't have, we fall into this trap, especially around birthdays or holidays, where we start to look at all of the things we haven't done yet, or all of the things we haven't gotten yet. But when you switch that and you look at the things you have done, and you look at the things you do have, you become aware of how much you have. And yes, many people, we struggle at the end of the month to make all the bills and to, keep everything going. But again, here in the US, even the poorest among us is in the top 1% of the world population. So when you think about our ability to have food, have a roof over our heads, be able to have friends, to be able to, when we get sick, know that it's a cold and it's not going to be fatal. We have so much to be grateful for, and we have to look at that.
Absolutely. And with the end of the year coming up, looking upon those who are a little bit less fortunate and so on, one of the best ways that you can actually start attracting gratitude into your life is to volunteer for a good cause. Get involved in something, because the bottom line is people who are working for good causes and nonprofits and those kind of things, they're doing it out of the kindness of their hearts, and you attract what you hang around with. So this is a great time of year to reach out a little bit and volunteer to do some nice things for your community, make some contributions if you can do that kind of thing. But this is a great time of year, and really any time of year is a great time to recognize people who are on the surface less fortunate financially than us or material good wise, but they probably have a lot going on inside that we can share, that they can share with us, and we can share back with them.
Absolutely. You know, there are so many people who talk about this on a regular basis. Warren Buffett talks about this. Um, Kurosawa, who from Rich Dad Poor Dad, talks about this. He says, even when you think you don't have anything, the act of giving something to someone. Here in the Northeast, they do coat drives to keep people warm in the winter. There's toy drives all over the world, for kids that don't have. If you can just give one thing, an old coat, old clothes that they're in good condition, but they don't fit you anymore, or you're not going to wear them anymore. The act of giving helps uplift you. It makes you more aware that, yes, you have to give to others. And that right there can help turn your mindset around. And it's not about, well, when I'm better off, I'll give. It's you give now and you will become better off. And there are so many very well off people who say this is what they started doing before they made their fortunes. And
Again,
it helped them so much.
yep, life is a series of present moments. So looking at when is looking into the future, but the present moment now is a step towards that.
Exactly. All right, we're just about at the end of our time. So, Chip, what do you think is a big takeaway for our audience this week?
Well, our friend Rhonda Byrne, who wrote the Secret, wrote a book called The Power. And the bottom line is, if you can shift your life to 51% positive thinking, you can change your life. And the best way to do that is to feel and act upon your gratitude. Your best tool is a smile. Just smile in that mirror at yourself, and you're going to be a lot happier. On a daily basis, if you start each day with a positive morning routine and finish the day with a positive evening routine, it's going to set you in the right direction. And very, very important, the best way to do this whole thing is to make sure that you are living in the present, living in the present moment, and do not let your response be your initial reaction. If your initial reaction is negative, you have the power to just pause for a second and turn that into positive. Lionel Hampton, a jazz musician, said, gratitude is when memory is stored in the heart and not in the mind. I think that's a fantastic quote to take away.
I've never heard that. I love that. That's great. Yeah, I think for me,